My eyesight's pretty poor. It gets pretty poor at my age, so I find it quite difficult to read most things on my mobile. I would say anything bold, anything in bold is obviously much easier for me to read. Anything that's not too small, and colours are really important as well. I tend to find that white on black is the easiest to read. Black on white's pretty easy to read, but things like yellows, oranges, reds, they're pretty difficult to read, so colours come into it for me. But regarding fonts, anything that's not too fancy, I think that's called sans serif, sans serif, whatever, anything that's not too fussy, especially handwriting, old-fashioned type fonts, they're really difficult to read. The ergonomics of the keyboard are pretty good. It always gets quite annoying pressing too many buttons to get to where you want to get, of course. Fighting your way through menus, trying to remember where to go. But to be honest, I don't really use my phone for an awful lot more than being a phone. I think my phone is a Samsung Android phone, and it's just, to be honest with you, the operating system is just a copy of Apple's iPhone, so they're pretty much the same, I would say. I don't think there's a huge difference between them, other than the iPhone tends to function better. That's probably why it costs a lot more money. It's definitely on paper because it's bigger, and there's a couple of things with reading information on cellular devices. One is that particularly if you're reading a newspaper, a news article, or anything that provides lots of information, it starts off really too small for me to read. Then I have to zoom in, then I have to kind of push it around on the screen to try and get to read the bits that I want to read. And what always happens to me, this is so annoying, is that there are like hyperlinks all around the article, so that if I accidentally touch the wrong part of the screen, it sends me to a whole other screen trying to sell me something or whatever, and that really annoys me. On a newspaper, I can bend the corner of a page back to flip back to it anytime I want to flip back to it. But you know, we're talking about a mobile phone which has a very small screen here, so you know, maybe that's part of the problem. Brightness is critical. My eyes are really quite poor. I have to wear glasses anyway. I find that natural daylight is a big issue. If there's not much natural daylight, I can't really see very much when I'm reading. Energy levels mean that if I'm a bit tired, I find it harder to read. A bus, shall we say, and I forget my glasses, basically I'm not going to be able to read. So the brightness of the phone is really helpful. All I'll say about that is that natural light actually ruins the phone. So if I'm out on a really sunny day, I can't see anything on the screen of my phone. I have to sort of duck into a corner and cut my hand over the phone just to half see what's happening on the screen, which is a bit strange because I've seen people using these Amazon Kindles and they don't seem to suffer from that problem, so I don't know why smartphones can't have the same functionality. The one thing I change about the type used, simply what I said already, I think, bolder and larger, please. Maybe it's just about having a larger screen, as we discussed earlier. You know, maybe I've seen some of these new Samsung phones are much larger than iPhones and the older Samsung phones, and I could see the point of that if you could get, you know, just larger typeface to look at. Having said that, knowing developers, what they'll probably do is just cram the screen with more information, therefore negating that. So the one thing I changed about the type used, keep it simple, keep it bold, as large as possible.